Hello everyone, welcome to LimeGuru channel. In this session we are going to learn that how you can implement checkpointing in your Spark streaming job. So checkpointing is basically helpful when you want to implement failover scenarios in your Spark job. You want to have fault tolerance in your Spark job, that is whenever your Spark job goes down, so any messages, any streaming messages which gets lost should not be lost. Your Spark job should be able to recover those messages, and that is the fault tolerance feature which you can enable using checkpointing in Spark. This feature is very helpful to make your Spark job fault tolerant. Even if it's down, even in those cases you can recover those messages which were published during the time when your Spark job was down. So going through for this understanding this features, checkpointing feature will implement one Spark streaming job. If I talk you about the project structure, so here I have my Spark project, Spark streaming checkpointing project. It's a standard Java Maven based project where I have pom.xml, where I have defined all the Spark dependencies. So all of these dependencies you can use as it is, and then in the src main Java I have a package where I have my structured streaming job, and this is a code where I'm creating my Spark session first. So it creates a Spark session pointing to my local master. So let me zoom in a bit this class. So it is pointing to my local master. The Spark is running on my local, session is created. After that I am connecting to Kafka. So you can see I'm connecting to Kafka, which is again pointing to my local Bootstrap servers. So Kafka will also run on my local and will publish the messages on Kafka topic, and the name of the topic is my topic. We'll push the messages on this topic, and this Spark job is also subscribing to this topic. Then after that we have a piece of code where we are going to parse the messages from the Kafka into a data set. So basically we will be pushing a JSON data, and then we are just parsing the JSON data into different columns. The different attributes of a JSON should come in a different column, and all of these things we have covered in the earlier video. I'll share that video link in the description also, that how you can parse messages from Kafka if the messages are coming into the JSON format. So this is the code where we will be parsing the messages, and let me show you the type of messages which we will be pushing. So this is the message that we will be pushing, where we have name, age and country. So these three things are there in my messages, and after parsing my data frame will have 6 columns. One is the topic name, the partition number, offset number, and all the columns of the JSON message, which is name, age and country. So 3 columns from my data set and 3 columns corresponding to the header column, which is topic, partition and offset. This is just to identify like which topic I am subscribed to, which message I am consuming, and from which partition it is coming. So this will be my data frame. Now after consuming the message, now comes the part that when you are writing the messages, so you need to write the message df.writeStream, and you can enable checkpointing feature using this special option. So you can enable a special option which is checkpoint location. So checkpoint location is basically the location where your Spark job will automatically track like what all messages it has processed, and if it goes down it will try to identify from the offset number that for each partition from where it has to resume. If it, let's say if it went down on a message number 6, and after that when the job was down, let's say 10 messages were published, and when your job comes up it will start from 6 only. It will not start from 16, because 10 new messages have been published, so it will not start from 16. It will start from 6 only, because you have enabled checkpointing feature. But if you have not enabled checkpointing feature and your Spark job goes down, and in between the message count goes from 6 to 16, and when your Spark job comes up again, it will start from 16 only. All the messages in between 6 to 16 will be lost. So we'll see with this practical demo also that how this checkpointing feature will work. So let me uncomment this code. Let me show you what is the Spark behavior if you don't implement fault tolerance, and I'll show you live that how messages are getting lost if you don't enable checkpointing, and how checkpointing turn out to be a beneficial feature. We'll see both the things. So let me start my Spark job first. So let me run it. So here is my Spark job which I'm running. So let the Spark job run in the background. I'll launch the producer also. So this is going to be my producer on localhost, and the topic name is my topic. So if I press enter, so my producer has also started, and my Kafka brokers and Zookeeper are already running. So you can see here it's already running on my local, and I have started my Kafka producer here on my local. So we are going to publish few messages here. So we are going to publish, let's say, 3 messages here. And if you see the logs also, the current message count on this topic is 27. If we'll publish 3 messages, it should increase from 27 to 30 because we are publishing 3 messages. Let me copy all the messages. Messages are copied, and let me post these messages. Messages are pushed. Now let's see the count. Okay, so you let me open the console. So you can see that message count has reached to 30 from 27, and you can see the output also that 3 messages were consumed. So now let me shut down this job. Let me shut down this job and try to publish. So just notice this current count is 30, and we will push 3 more messages, right, after shutting down the job. So we have shut down the job is stopped. Let's push the 3 messages again. So now these messages have been published to Kafka, but my Spark job is down. So as the checkpointing feature is disabled, these messages will not be processed, because at this point of time my Spark job is down and it's not fault tolerant, it's not enabled for checkpointing. If I start the job again, so you will see the job is starting. Just let's wait for the job to start and I'll show you that. Okay, so you see that current message has increased from 30 to 33, but it has not processed any of the messages which I published in between 30 to 33. This data frame is blank as of now. All those messages got lost. Okay, so now let's see what happens when we enable the checkpointing. So you see the current count is 33. Current count is 33, and let's enable the checkpointing feature again. So let me enable the checkpointing feature. Let me restart my Spark job. Current count is 33. Do remember this thing. And in fact, before starting, okay, let me start and show it again. So let me run this job. Let's wait for the Spark job to run again. It will take few seconds. Okay, the job has started. The current count is 33 only. Now let's push some messages. Let's see. At present the job is running, so I have pushed 3 messages again. So the count should increase from 33 to 36. So it has increased to 36, and it has processed 3 messages. Now it has processed 3 messages. Let's shut down the job again. Let's shut down the job again, and let's try to see what happens if we push some more messages with checkpointing enabled. Let's see what happens. Do remember the current count is 36. Now we are pushing more messages, so 3 more messages, so the count will become 39. So we have pushed 3 more messages now, but Spark job is down. So earlier the checkpointing was not enabled, so all those messages got lost. Those 3 messages got lost. But let's see now what happens, because my checkpoint is enabled. So now you can see that the count has gone from 36 to 39, but it has processed those messages also. All those 3 messages which were pushed to Kafka when the Spark job was down, whenever the job came up, it has processed my previous messages also. None of the message has been lost. So checkpointing is a great feature if you want to implement your Spark job in a way that you don't want your messages to get lost. You want that your messages should be processed at least once. Then in that case you need to implement this checkpointing. And if I show some internals about how checkpointing is implemented, so at the checkpoint location, which is src main resources checkpoint, so if you go into that location, src main resources, let me refresh it. So you will see here that a checkpoint folder is created. Yes, this checkpoint folder is created, Spark has created, and in this folder Spark maintains what all offset it has committed, what was the last offset it has processed. So using this directory, Spark maintains internally, it does the offset management internally, that whenever the Spark job will come up, where it has to start from. It will not start from the latest message, it will start from the message where it ended last when your Spark job went down. So this is a good feature. And one important point, this checkpointing location, right now I'm running on local, so it's my local directory, but when you are running this job onto cluster, it has to be a shared location, which can be a HDFS location or any other location, but that location has to be accessible from all the workers, because all the workers need to coordinate with that checkpoint directory, that what all messages they are processing, message processing happens on workers, so all those need to have access to checkpointing directory. So it has to be HDFS location, and if you're running on your local, then it says sudo cluster mode, then it can be a single your local path also. So that was the concept of checkpointing. I hope you were able to relate this concept at how you can implement fault tolerance in your Spark job. That's all about this video. I'll share this complete project structure onto GitHub URL, which will be shared in the video description. If you like the concept, the simple explanation, please press the like button. Do subscribe our channel Lime Guru and do share this video with others. Thank you.